The little girl was behind the cereal boxes. I almost didn't see her. I was restocking the bottom shelf in aisle 7 when I heard it, a soft whimpering sound like a kitten lost in the rain. I paused, listening. There it was again, coming from behind the display of family-sized Cheerios. I set down my scanner and walked around the end cap. That's when I saw her. She was maybe 7 or 8 years old, with blonde hair, wearing a red dress. She was curled up in the tiny space between the shelf and the wall, her knees pulled to her chest, her hands pressed hard against her ears. Her whole body was shaking. My heart dropped. I recognized what I was seeing immediately. My nephew Tyler has autism, and I'd seen him like this 100 times, that look of pure overwhelm when the world becomes too loud, too bright, too much. When your nervous system hits overload and the only thing you can do is shut down and try to survive it. This little girl was having a meltdown, and she was alone. I knelt down a few feet away, careful not to crowd her. The last thing you do with someone in sensory overload is invade their space. "Hey there," I said softly, barely above a whisper. "My name is Jasmine. Are you okay?" She didn't look at me. Her eyes were squeezed shut, tears streaming down her face. Her hands pressed even harder against her ears, like she was trying to block out sound that was physically hurting her. I glanced around the store. Saturday afternoon at Morrison's Market in Minneapolis meant crowds, shopping carts rattling, checkout scanners beeping, fluorescent lights humming overhead. For most people, it was just background noise. For a child with autism in the middle of a meltdown, it was torture. "I know everything feels really loud right now," I said gently. "I'm going to help you feel better, okay? But I need to know, are you here with someone? Is your mom or dad in the store?" The girl didn't respond. She was rocking slightly now, a self-soothing motion I'd seen Tyler do countless times. I pulled out my phone and dimmed the brightness all the way down, then opened my Notes app to a blank black screen. I'd learned this trick from Tyler's therapist. Sometimes when someone's overwhelmed, you give them something simple to focus on, something calm, something that doesn't demand anything. "Look," I whispered, holding the phone where she could see it without having to move. "See the black screen? Nothing moving, nothing bright, just nice and dark and quiet." Her rocking slowed just a fraction. She opened one eye slightly, peeking at the phone. "That's good," I encouraged. "You're doing great. Now, I'm going to stay right here with you until you feel better. I'm not going anywhere." That's when I heard the voice over the store intercom, loud, urgent, frantic. "Attention Morrison's Market customers. We are looking for a lost child. She's approximately 8 years old, blonde hair, wearing a red dress. If you see her, please bring her to the customer service desk immediately. Again, we have a lost child." The announcement was meant to help, but to this little girl, trapped in sensory overwhelm, it was just more noise, more stimulation, more pain. She cried harder, her hands clamping even tighter over her ears. I made a decision. I pressed my employee call button, the one we use for price checks and cleanup requests, and spoke quietly into my headset. "This is Jasmine in aisle 7. I found the lost child. She's safe, but she's having a medical episode. Please turn off the overhead announcement. The noise is making it worse. And tell whoever's looking for her to come to aisle 7 quietly. No running, no loud voices." There was a pause, then my manager's voice crackled back. "Copy that. Sending someone now." I turned back to the little girl. Her breathing was too fast, bordering on hyperventilation. I needed to slow it down. "Okay, sweetheart. Can you do something for me? Can you blow on my hand like you're blowing out birthday candles?" I held my hand in front of her, palm up, about a foot away. "Big breath in through your nose," I demonstrated, exaggerating my own breathing so she could see and hear it, "and then blow it all out, like this, whoosh." It took 3 tries, but she started copying me, breathing in, breathing out. Slowly, her rapid breathing began to even out. "Perfect," I whispered. "You're doing so good. Let's do it 3 more times together." While she was breathing, I reached into my apron pocket and pulled out something I always carried since Tyler came into my life. A smooth riverstone, cool to the touch, about the size of a quarter. Tyler's occupational therapist had taught us that proprioceptive input, the feeling of weight and texture, could help during a meltdown. I have something else that might help, I said softly. This is my calm down stone. It's cool and smooth, and it feels really nice in your hand. Can I put it next to you and you can touch it if you want? I placed the stone on the floor between us, not in her hand. She had to choose to take it herself. Control was important. For a long moment, she just stared at it. Then, slowly, one hand came away from her ear and reached out. She picked up the stone and immediately started rubbing it between her fingers, the repetitive motion soothing. That's it, I encouraged. Feel how smooth it is? Nice and cool? She nodded. The first communication. My nephew Tyler has autism, I told her, keeping my voice low and even. Sometimes the world gets too loud and too bright for him, just like it did for you. And you know what? That's okay. It's not your fault. Your brain just works differently, and that's actually pretty special. She was still crying, but quieter now. The storm was passing. Are you feeling a tiny bit better? I asked. Another nod. Good. Now, there's someone looking for you. Someone who's probably really worried. Can you tell me who you came to the store with? Her voice was barely a whisper. My daddy. Your daddy. Okay. He's looking for you right now. Is your daddy wearing anything special today? She thought about this, still rubbing the stone. Green clothes, with his name on it. Green clothes with his name. A uniform, maybe. Military? Utility worker? Before I could ask more, I heard rapid footsteps at the end of the aisle. Heavy boots, running. A man in army combat uniform rounded the corner, his face a mask of terror and relief all at once. He was maybe 40, with close-cropped gray hair and the bearing of someone who'd spent decades following orders and giving them. Lily! He shouted. The little girl's hands flew back to her ears, her body tensing. The loud voice, even from her father, was too much right now. I stood up quickly and held out a hand, palm toward him in a stop gesture. Sir, she's okay, but please, quieter. She's still overwhelmed. The man, Lily's father, skidded to a stop. I watched understanding flash across his face. He immediately lowered his voice. Lily, he said again, softer this time. He started to rush forward, but I stepped slightly in his path. Sir, I need you to approach slowly. She's coming down from a sensory overload. Sudden movement or noise could set her back. He looked at me, really looked at me, and I saw something in his eyes that made my chest ache. Gratitude, and something else. Recognition. He'd been here before. He knew exactly what his daughter was going through, and he knew I knew too. Thank you, he said quietly. Then he walked slowly toward his daughter, his boots deliberately quiet on the tile floor. Hey, baby girl, he said softly, kneeling a few feet away from her, just like I had. I've been looking for you. You scared me. I'm sorry, Daddy, Lily whispered, her voice thick with tears. It was too loud. I had to hide. I know, sweetheart. I know it was loud. You did the right thing finding a quiet spot. He looked at me again. And it looks like you found someone really nice to help you. Lily looked at me for the first time. Really looked at me. She gave me her calm-down stone. She did? Her father smiled. That was very kind of her. I knelt back down so I was at Lily's level. You did such a good job calming yourself down, Lily. That takes a lot of courage. Your daddy's here now, so you're safe. Do you feel ready to stand up? She nodded and held up the stone. Can I keep it? Of course you can keep it. It's yours now. Lily stood up slowly, still clutching the stone in one hand. Her father didn't grab her or swoop her up. He just held out his hand and waited for her to take it. When she did, he squeezed it gently. Thank you, he said to me again. I'm Captain David Miller. I turned my back for 30 seconds to grab coffee creamer, and when I looked back, she was gone. I've been searching for 10 minutes. She's safe. That's what matters. You knew exactly what to do, he said, and there was wonder in his voice. The breathing, the stone, the way you talk to her. You've been trained. My nephew has autism. I've learned a lot helping his mom. Well, you probably just saved us both from a much worse situation. When Lily gets overwhelmed, it can take hours for her to regulate again. You did in 10 minutes what sometimes takes us half a day. Lily was leaning against her father now, tired from the emotional storm she'd just weathered. She was still rubbing the stone. She's an amazing kid, I said. She was so brave. Captain Miller looked like he wanted to say more, but that's when I heard the voice I'd been dreading. Jasmine. I turned to see my manager, Donald Patterson, striding down the aisle with that particular expression he got when he was about to make someone's day worse. He was 50-something, with thinning hair he combed over aggressively, and a tie that was always just slightly too tight. "Sir," I said, standing up, "what are you doing? Your section isn't even half done. You've been in this aisle for 15 minutes. "I was helping a lost child who was having a medical episode," I said carefully. "I can see what you were helping with. We found the lost child." "Good. Now get back to your assigned work. We have a truck coming in at 4, and this floor needs to be stocked." Captain Miller stepped forward. "Excuse me, but your employee just helped my daughter through a medical crisis. She used professional techniques that prevented what could have become a much more serious situation." "I appreciate that, sir. But Jasmine has responsibilities. We can't have employees abandoning their duties every time there's a situation. We have procedures for this. She should have called a manager to handle it." "A situation?" Captain Miller's voice was very calm, but I recognized that calm. It was the calm of someone who was very angry and working hard to control it. "My daughter has autism. She was having a sensory meltdown. Your employee knew exactly what to do. Should she have left my daughter in distress to find a manager who might not have any training in this area?" Patterson's smile was thin. "Our managers are trained in customer service, sir, and I'm glad your daughter is fine. But Jasmine's job is to stock shelves. That's what she's paid for." "So helping people isn't part of working here?" Captain Miller asked. "Customer service has its place," Patterson said, "but not when it interferes with productivity. Jasmine, this isn't the first time. Last month you spent 20 minutes helping that elderly woman find her medication. 2 weeks ago you stopped to help someone in a wheelchair reach items on the top shelf. You're here to stock product, not provide customer service beyond your role. That's not your job." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. I knew where this was going. "Mr. Patterson, I understand your concern about the work, but the child needed immediate help." "You're fired, Jasmine, effective immediately. This is the 3rd written warning. We've been more than patient." The words hung in the air like smoke. Lily made a small sound of distress. Captain Miller looked like he'd been slapped, and I felt the floor drop out from under me. "You're firing her," Captain Miller said slowly, "for helping my disabled daughter." "I'm firing her for repeated failure to follow company policy and complete her assigned duties," Patterson said. "This is the 3rd written warning." Written warnings. Yes, I had those. One for spending too long helping an elderly customer who was confused about which diabetes medication her doctor prescribed. One for helping a man in a wheelchair who couldn't reach items on high shelves because apparently I should have called a manager instead of just getting the items myself. And now this. "Mr. Patterson," I said quietly, my voice steadier than I felt. "I understand. I'll clear out my locker." "Wait," Captain Miller said. "This is wrong. Lily, honey, cover your ears for a minute, okay?" Lily, sensing the tension, put her hands back over her ears. Captain Miller turned to Patterson, and his voice was no longer calm. It was cold. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly. You are terminating this employee because she stopped to help a child who was lost and in medical distress, a child who, without intervention, could have hurt herself or ended up in the emergency room. You're firing her because she showed basic human decency and professional competence that apparently isn't valued here. Sir, you don't understand the full context of her employment history." "I understand perfectly. I understand that you run a business where helping a lost disabled child is considered a firing offense. I understand that you value shelf stocking over human safety, and I understand that I will be calling your corporate office the minute I leave this store. I work with veteran and disability advocacy groups in Minnesota, and I think corporate will be very interested in how this situation was handled." Patterson's face reddened. "Sir, you're welcome to file any complaint you want. My decision stands. Jasmine, clear out your locker. I need your apron and name tag before you leave." He turned and walked away, leaving the 3 of us standing in aisle 7 surrounded by boxes of cereal. I took a shaky breath. Don't cry. Don't cry in front of them. Wait until you get to your car. "This is wrong," Captain Miller said. "This is so wrong. I'm going to fix this. It's okay, I said, even though it wasn't. I'll figure it out. I'm just glad Lily's okay. That's what matters. I started to take off my apron, my hands shaking slightly. 3 years at this job. Not great pay, not great hours, but it paid my rent and helped me save for school. Gone because I helped a child. Lily took her hands away from her ears and looked up at me with those big eyes. You're leaving? Yes, sweetie, I have to go. Because of me? No, I knelt down quickly. Not because of you, never because of you. You didn't do anything wrong. Grown-ups sometimes make bad decisions, that's all. But you remember this, okay? What happened to you today? Getting overwhelmed? That's not your fault. And people who help when someone needs it, those are the good people. Don't ever be afraid to ask for help. Lily lunged forward and hugged me. Just threw her arms around my neck and held on. For a child with autism who struggled with physical contact, this was huge. I hugged her back, and that's when the tears started. Not sobs, just quiet tears running down my face. Thank you for helping me, Lily whispered. You're nice. You're welcome, sweetheart. You be good for your daddy, okay? She nodded and stepped back. Captain Miller was staring at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. Wait here, he said suddenly. Both of you, don't leave yet, please. Sir, I have to clear out my locker. Just give me 5 minutes, please. He turned and walked quickly toward the front of the store, his boots echoing on the tile. Lily and I stood there in the aisle, me in my half-removed apron, her still clutching the stone. Is my daddy going to yell? Lily asked quietly. I don't think so, honey. I think he's going to try to help. Good. That man was mean to you. I almost smiled. Yeah, he kind of was. We waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes. I could hear raised voices from the front of the store. Captain Miller's and Patterson's, other voices too. A woman's voice I recognized as the assistant manager. 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Then Captain Miller came striding back down the aisle, Patterson following behind him, looking like he'd been forced to swallow something bitter. Behind them was the assistant manager, Sharon Williams, a woman in her 60s who'd always been kind to me. Jasmine, Sharon said, slightly out of breath, Mr. Patterson would like to speak with you. Patterson looked like he'd rather eat glass, but he spoke. Jasmine, after further discussion with upper management and our assistant manager, we've decided to reconsider the termination. You'll receive a written warning for the time management issue, but you can keep your job. I stared at him. What? You can keep your job, he repeated, the words clearly painful. I don't understand. What changed? Sharon spoke up. Captain Miller raised some valid concerns about how we handle situations involving customers with disabilities. We need to review our policies and make sure our staff knows when it's appropriate to provide direct assistance. What you did today was the right thing, Jasmine. Patterson added reluctantly, We'll be implementing additional training for all staff. You can return to work on Monday. Captain Miller spoke up. I simply explained that there are legal and ethical considerations when it comes to how businesses respond to disability-related situations. Your assistant manager agreed that the circumstances were unusual and warranted immediate action. Patterson turned and walked away without another word. Sharon smiled at me. Take the rest of your shift off, honey. Paid. You've earned it. Come back Monday and we'll talk. She left, leaving me standing there in shock. Captain Miller was watching me carefully. You okay? I think so. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. What happened here needed to be addressed, and beyond that, you helped Lily when she needed it most. You knew exactly what to do. That's not something I take lightly. Anyone would have done the same. No, he interrupted gently. Not anyone. Most people would have walked past her or just called for a manager. You stopped. You knew what she needed. That matters. I wiped at my eyes, trying to pull myself together. I need to ask you something, Captain Miller continued, and I want you to take your time answering. No pressure. Lily and I moved to Minneapolis about 6 months ago after I retired from active duty. I'm starting a nonprofit that provides support services for families with special needs kids, therapy referrals, support groups, respite care, that kind of thing. I've been looking for someone with real-world experience to help run the family outreach program. Someone who understands what these families go through. Someone like you. I blinked. Like a job? Like a job. Better pay than here. Benefits, weekends off. You'd be helping families like mine every single day. Would you be interested? I don't know what to say. This morning I woke up worried about making rent. 30 minutes ago I'd been fired. Now you're offering me this. You don't have to answer now, he said quickly. Here's my card. Think about it over the weekend. Call me Monday if you're interested and we can talk details. I took the card. Captain David Miller, Hope Bridge Family Services, a phone number, an email. I'll call you, I said. I promise I'll call you. Good. He looked down at Lily. What do you say, kiddo? Ready to finish shopping? We still need to get that turkey for Thanksgiving. Can Jasmine come with us? Lily asked. I think Jasmine needs to rest after her big day, Captain Miller said. But maybe we'll see her again soon. I hope so, Lily said. Then, very carefully, she held out the smooth stone. Do you want your stone back? No, baby, I said, closing her hand around it. That's your stone now. You keep it for the next time things get too loud. Okay? She smiled at me, and it was like the sun coming out. They walked away, Lily's hand in her father's, and I stood there in aisle 7 holding a business card and trying to process what had just happened. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend, Monica. How's work? I looked at the card in my hand, at the aisle where I'd found a little girl in crisis, at the job I'd almost lost for doing the right thing. I texted back. You're not going to believe what just happened. That was Saturday. By Sunday evening, I knew I had to make the call. I called Captain Miller that evening. By Monday, I had a job. Offer as Family Outreach Coordinator at Hope Bridge Family Services. The salary was $15 an hour more than Morrison's, with health insurance and paid time off. I gave my notice at Morrison's immediately. My first day at Hope Bridge, David handed me a check for my first month's salary in advance. So, you don't have to worry about the transition, he explained. That small gesture told me everything about the kind of person I'd be working for. The office was in a converted house near downtown Minneapolis. We had a quiet room with soft lighting and noise-canceling headphones, and on my desk sat a box of smooth river stones, one for every family we'd serve. Lily came to the office after school sometimes, still carrying her stone everywhere. One afternoon, she looked up from her coloring. Jasmine, remember when we met? I remember. I was really scared, but you helped me. She paused. Then that mean man said you had to leave, and I thought it was my fault. Lily, it wasn't your fault, not even a little bit. I know. Daddy said you helped me even though you might get in trouble. He said that's called courage. She went back to coloring. That's what heroes do. We helped dozens of families connect with therapists, navigate insurance, and find support. Every time I handed a parent a smooth stone and taught them the breathing technique, I thought about that day in aisle 7. If this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button. I share stories about ordinary people making extraordinary choices, about moments that change lives, and about what happens when kindness meets courage. Drop a comment below and tell me, where are you watching from? Florida, California, London? Have you ever had to choose between following the rules and doing what's right? Thank you for being here.